Two bills are under consideration by the Denver City Council that would implement a pollution tax on electricity and natural gas used by businesses in Denver. The money generated from the pollution tax would provide grants and other incentives to reduce Denver's carbon footprint. The Council's Finance and Governments Committee voted 4-3 to advance the bills, despite the objections from Mayor Michael Hancock. Michael, when I hear things like a pollution tax, I think it's a modern day indulgence. Pay it now, you don't have to worry about the sin of turning on your air conditioning, but I think they're probably just as effective. Perhaps I'm being too cynical. What do you think?
Well, I think it's a bad idea, and it was even worse process. Obviously, they wanted to get something on the ballot for this tax in November, and so they had to move quickly, but it was a 4-3 vote. Mayor Hancock did weigh in and say, we're going too fast on this. We haven't talked to stakeholders, small businesses, low-income people that might actually bear the brunt of this. And I think it's clear so far that this new city council is going to be extreme. As a conservative looking at this, you kind of expect that in Denver, but I think they're even further along those lines. And it's why I love the Taxpayers' Bill of Rights, because this is something that goes in front of the people. And if the people say this is what we want to do this. But I think this was moved way too quickly, and it's going to have a lot of unintended consequences.
Natasha, you put out something that's a business tax. It comes out as a headline and it feels that, well, that doesn't affect me as a Joe taxpayer, then great. But any sort of business that has an increased cost is going to pass along somewhere. Is this just a way to get around to passing a tax for everybody in Denver to take care of our carbon footprint?
Well, it depends on how you feel about taxes. I would say that in this case, we're going to learn a lot. We're going to learn about how this is going to impact individual businesses, how it might filter down to the individuals. If it gets on the ballot, this conversation is going to continue, and I'm guessing there's going to be a lot of money thrown at both the pros and cons. I'm not surprised that this is going to be on the table. Many of the candidates are running for city council. We're talking about the environment. We're talking about things that Denver can do to lead the way. That's part of a national and an international conversation that's going on as well. I mean, when we look at this is all part of, I think, a bigger conversation that's happening about the Green New Deal and this question of when do we have to do something. And that's a difficult balance for a city to weigh. Are we pushing something through too fast? And then you have environmentalists that are saying, well, we've waited decades, perhaps even longer, and we haven't accomplished what we need to accomplish to get where we need to go. So regardless, and I've done this before, but I will say the only thing I can predict here is that people are going to learn a lot about taxes and a lot about the environment in the next couple of weeks.
It's a safe prediction. Patty, you're a Denverite, you're a business owner. Do you think you'll be paying a pollution tax sometime soon?
Well, plenty of hot air already at Westward, so we should be fined right now. The problem here is going to be businesses that already are feeling very hard hit in Denver, and it's not because of the carbon tax, it's because of property tax and the Gallagher Amendment, which puts an undue weight on businesses for their property taxes compared to residents. And I think at this point, it makes sense that residents should share the burden. I mean, they are getting a deal. They're getting a deal on their recycling. They're getting a deal on the carbon tax if businesses have to pay up. And that's the lesson we really need to learn now, which is, are we putting an undue burden on businesses if we want to keep businesses in Denver so we can go to work there in our electric cars?
Indeed. Joey, Mayor Michael Hancock says he's against this so far. Do you think he puts a stop to this even if it gets through council?
No, I don't think so. I mean, Michael Hancock is a Democrat, and he is a liberal. He's just not as liberal as this city council. My column this weekend is about how far to the left and how fast this city council is moving. But they were elected to effect change, and this is change. But make no mistake, any cost to business is a cost to consumers. You know, Democrats on one hand can't complain about President Trump's tariffs and say, oh, that's going to cost us money, and then turn around and say a pollution tax on business isn't going to cost people money. It's just, what cause are you adopting? And, you know, I'm not surprised that the city council is doing this, but I am surprised at how fast they're moving on it.